Peace, guys. Welcome back to ZENSFXHUB, where fundamentals is simplified. And in this video, we're going to talk about Iran's economic collapse, right? And before we get into the slideshow, I want to mention this again because I said this in my last video, but this is why it's super important for you not to really be so fixated and attached to headlines, because at any given moment, the headlines can change. Just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we was talking about Venezuela. Not saying that that's not important, but now, Iran is at the forefront. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to pay attention to the headlines because it gives you an opportunity to understand what's going on and the direction that the world may be going in. But don't get so fixated on it. Like, actually pay attention to what's important, which is the data, like policies, things that are set in stone. Okay? So we're going to get into it. All right? Okay, so the big picture, all right? Economic collapse shifts global power. The main points of this slide that we're going to talk about, put my glasses on. Okay, so the main points in the slide we're going to talk about is how Iran has weakened internally and externally, its current state shifts power in the Middle East, and how opportunities for outside powers to step in has been created. When a country is focused on survival at home, it loses leverage abroad. Okay? What's happening in Iran? Iran is in a deep multi-layer crisis. The economic system is under a lot of pressure, extreme pressure. Political leadership losing public trust, and massive protests driven by survival is going on right now in these moments. This crisis isn't sudden. Is the result of years of sanctions, inflation, and internal mismanagement finally hitting a breaking point. This kind of sounds familiar to what I said in the video where I discussed Venezuela a little bit more and why the US was able to swoop in and take over their energy control. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. The currency collapse. The Iranian rial is rapidly losing value. Their currency has lost most of its purchasing power. Inflation makes everyday goods unaffordable, and savings and wages are being wiped out. When a currency collapses, people rush to hard assets, prices spike, and confidence in the system disappears. And I gave you guys some examples of what hard assets are. And, it's real estate, gold, silver, oil, livestock, just to name a few. There are a bunch of other ones. You can go ahead and Google that if you want to know all of them. Why people are protesting? Economic pressure turned into mass frustration. Food, rent, and fuel costs are rising fast. Job opportunities are shrinking, and the middle class is being pushed into poverty. People are not protesting because politics, religion, or beliefs. They are protesting because they can't afford to live anymore. And before I move to the next slide, I just want to say that it's super unfortunate that those people are experiencing that right now. And I trust that, things start to get better for them real soon, because I can only imagine what that feels like. So this is how their government is responding, right? The government is sending police and military and other special forces to shut down these protests forcefully. They're using forced arrest and fear to stop the protests from spreading, and they have influence over the internet slowdowns and media control. Instead of fixing the economy, the government is focused on controlling the population and the narrative. So pretty much they're trying to keep everything under wraps, which is kind of crazy to me when we live in such a digital age world where everything is being recorded and posted up. So I don't know how long that's going to last, to be honest. Why Iran matters globally. Iran is not a small player. It's one of the world's major oil producers, plays a major role in the Middle East, and located near major global oil shipping routes. Okay? Iran's instability drives higher prices, creates regional tension, and shakes global market. In other words, if Iran is unstable, neighboring countries may see more conflict and power shifts, creating insecurity in their region. So pretty much countries who are connected to Iran, their allies, if Iran is unstable, they're going to feel that instability too. So it's going to cause them to kind of, feel that pressure, the same pressure that Iran is feeling. Okay? If a country that produces oil has geopolitical influence, becomes unstable, markets get nervous, affecting stock prices, currencies, and international trade. So being that Iran is a major oil producer, and right now things are not looking so great for them, markets is living kind of fearful and like they don't like this uncertainty. So this is going to affect certain assets and certain things that, we trade. How the U.S. benefits from this, right? I have to talk about the U.S. because, they are playing chess right now. Trump is playing chess right now. So Iran is weakened as a regional rival. So in other words, being that they're facing this uncertainty, being that they're unstable right now, they're not competitive. The U.S. allies face less threats from Iran's influence. So to put that in simple terms, think of it like the bully in school, right? Everybody's scared of this bully. And then one day that bully get bullied, or they pee on themselves, or something embarrassing happened to them. They lose their credit. They lose all credibility. And then people who was once scared of this bully ain't scared of them no more, because they're like, yo, like, you just peed yourself. So being that they don't, they're unstable right now and things are not looking right for them, U.S. allies is like less scared of them. Like, yo, like, y'all can't even afford to take care of people in y'all country. So like, you can't afford to come fuck with me type shit. And greater leverage over global energy, security. So pretty much the same reason why the U.S. swooped into Venezuela, like to take over their energy supply and put the U.S. in a position to thrive in the future. So a weak Iran means less money and military support for allies, reducing its ability to influence the Middle East. So right now, Iran not having no money, they can't support their military, and their military is what's needed. The military is what's needed to support the country and that country's allies. So if Iran don't got money to pay for the military, then it's not really much that they can do. Like, they can't do anything. So this is how the U.S. benefits from that, because if the U.S. wanted to go into Iran right now and swoop in and take over like how it did Venezuela, the U.S. can afford to do that. Iran can't, because it doesn't have the money to be able to pay their military to fight against outside control coming in, pretty much. So what to watch looking forward, okay? What happens next in Iran? Will protests continue to grow, or will they be suppressed, okay? Is that currency, right? Is their currency going to continue to fall and collapse, or is it going to stabilize at some point? What possible changes in leadership or policy direction will take form? How much increased pressure from sanctions or foreign powers will we see? The next phase depends on how long the public can endure economic pain and how much force the government is willing to use to stay in control. One thing that's key out of everything I just said is what possible changes in leadership or policy direction will take form. So what's going to happen next? Is Iran going to continue to be a major player, or is another outside entity going to come in and swoop in and take control and become the major player in their country? We'll have to see. That's why I said that's something that we need to be able to see next somewhere down the line. All right. So again, if you find any value in this video, please like and subscribe and watch the recent videos that I put out so that you can connect all the dots and see exactly like where we could be headed. And what certain things to look forward to. Like I said in the video, right, when I talked about Venezuela, I said at the end of that video, I was like that, looking forward, what we can see is, countries that are rich in resources but are unstable can possibly be taken over by the U.S. Could this happen with Iran? It's a possibility, because they have a lot of oil in that country, and right now they're unstable. Right now things are just not looking good for them. So being that the US is like on some shit where it's trying to take over resources to put America in a position where it can win in the future, this could be next on the United States radar. So this is what you have to look forward to seeing. Continue to stay educated, continue to stay updated with what's going on in the headlines. Don't get attached to it, but just so you can have an idea. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Again, I trusted that this helps you, and whatever new information comes up, I'll be sure to share it with y'all in simplified terms. All right, peace.